clean my desk out and found this.
That's brought up a lot of old memories.
Did it? Yeah, unreal. Some of the things that I read about and how they, I remember in Congress, it was nice talking to you right today too. You right.
In case I need to
People
add
don't
some
realize
ratios.
this,
Do you want me to graph it?
I said, we didn't give you the credit you deserve, but thank you, and then we started talking.
Yeah, it's just this. There's 42 peak elk.
We need 7 minutes, and maybe trying to get those through, but
Oh, yeah.
the other side of the aisle, we couldn't cover it.
Oh yeah.
I said, well, we put the cart in front of the horse, and we should have
I love the cut sheets.
Calm down.
something for sure that should never be done again. And that thing went way higher than it
Oh, you know, you had a
was. You should have probably bought the brand new. A little smaller and brand new.
Because the difference. Wellness center.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Wellness center, no.
Good.
I one
Yeah.
time went in that. 6 million. And I named it, you know, after her and I heard it, but she,
but everybody
told me, go for it.
to do it. And I think
You know, I wish just,
I was just kind of curious on how.
he was happy.
Yeah.
He was spinning his wheels well. Yeah, see, I get
and that Brady O'Connor was. Joan used to go to that too.
Megan, you ready? Call to order the City Council meeting for City of East Grand Forks for Tuesday, December 20th, 2016 is now 5:01. Executive Assistant, please call roll.
Mayor Lynn Staus.
Here.
Council President Mark Olsted.
Here.
Council Vice President Chad Grassel.
Here.
Council Members Clarence Vetter.
Here.
Mike Pakshavinsky.
Here.
Craig Bucklew.
Here.
Henry Tweeten.
here.
Mark Demers.
President.
Des Turner McCorn, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Walk very good.
This one here is a city from the City of East Grand Forks, presented with our respect and appreciation to Councilmember Craig Bucklew. Thank you for the years of dedication and service to the City of East Grand Forks, June 2016 to December 2006. Excuse me. Yeah, it's typo here. June 2006 to December 2016. Congratulations, Mr. Bucklew.
Well, it's been a fast 10 years, and I would encourage anybody to learn more about city government. And for a long time, I just felt that it was best to stay not involved as a business person in the community. But I think that's the wrong attitude, and I would encourage anybody to learn more about why, rather than just speak against one issue or another. So with that, I know the city is in good hands, and I know that everybody sitting here behind me all has one objective in mind, and that's to make East Grand Forks a better place to live and raise a family. And so with that, look forward to spending a little more time down south in the winter, but I'll be around come spring, and helping people in the store as usual. So thank you for your support, and good luck.
Thanks, sir. This next block is from Mayor Stouts. City of East Grand Forks presented with our respect and appreciation to Mayor Lynn Stouts. Thank you for 29 years of service, becoming a fighter in our time of need, and for shaping our city into what it is today. Forever grateful, the citizens of East Grand Forks, June 1980 to December 1987, and again, January of 1996 to December 2016. Congratulations and thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Very nice plaque. I have to admit, the first one I ever saw was my dad was an alderman for 20 years. And his plaque was twice the size of this. And then I was an alderman for 8 years, and mine was half as big as this. And now as mayor, gotten this beautiful, beautiful plaque, and I thank you for the words that were said on there. And I went out and bought a new shirt for this occasion. It's I'm 18 years old, and USA wore it everywhere. And believe me, it did a lot of good in Washington, D.C. when you wore that around, and with Mayor Owens, as we went from different representatives to the President of the United States. And it helped a lot in achieving. I know it wasn't my speech making because it was never good that at speech making, so it had to be the sweatshirt what I was wearing. But it brought a lot of money back to Grand Forks, East Grand Forks, and we saw our community get revived. And it wasn't just the money that did it. It was the people that went to work to restore the community, restore their homes. And I just want to congratulate all the people and thank them for what they did after the flood, because this community is what it is today because of them. And it's got to change in the future, guys. It can't stay as it is today. It's got to become a better community, a bigger community with some industry, with some more housing. It's not going to be easy. So there's a lot of pressure on you guys. You're the guys that'll have to do it. And it'll be more than just taxing people. You'll be going out and trying to raise money that you can do projects that will help this community. I tried all the time to raise money enough to at least pay for my salary. And believe me, I accomplished that in the total money raised from certain things, whether it be the VFW arena, whether it be the 125th or 100th parade. They cost $125,000 to do. People would get mad at that and say, what are we paying in taxes for this foolish thing? And it wasn't from taxes. It was donations from people because they cared about their community. So I hope that they'll carry on and do things like this that are good for the community. And I thank everybody because it's been a privilege to be mayor of East Grand Forks.
If you'll go ahead and take a picture if you want to take a picture.
Well, you're in it. You can stand back a little ways and I get this other way, then I can get that in the background. Back. And then this way, a little bit this way. Okay, so I want you to, there.
Hold up your plaque.
But
There you
the down to the USA shows.
There you go.
Oh, I got another one. More. Perfect. Thank you.
Don't go anywhere, Lynn. I have a letter that was given to us I was supposed to read. Dear Mayor Stouts, thank you for your kind invitation to join you for your retirement party. Although my schedule prevents me from being with you today, I would like to take this opportunity to thank you for the 29 years of service to the community of East Grand Forks. For nearly 3 decades, you have dedicated yourself to the city and to its citizens. When the community was devastated by the flood, you led the town as it recovered, rebuilt, and healed. You were a tireless advocate of permanent flood protection for the city of East Grand Forks. You have supported the voice for other flood-impacted communities in Minnesota. Today, as we celebrate your retirement from public office, we also celebrate your devotion to your community and state. I am sure that your relationship with East Grand Forks will not end completely, and you will find a way to stay involved and be an active member of the community for years to come. Again, I offer my sincere appreciation for your years of service and hard work. I hope you enjoyed today's celebration. You deserve it. I am honored to serve you in the United States Senate. Signed, Amy Klobuchar, United States Senator. There you go, sir.
This reminds me of when she came here, Senator Klobuchar, and we were at a flood. It was up and the ice was going underneath the bridge and hitting it. We took her out there. She was so scared that the bridge was going to cave in and that she was going to end up in the water. But been a good senator to work with, and I thank you for this letter. I talked to her last night for a minute. Been just an excellent person that I felt needs her.
Open forum and opportunity for members of the public to address the City Council on items not on the current agenda. Items requiring council action may be deferred to staff or boards and commissions for research and future council agendas if appropriate. Anybody here at this time would like to address the council? Seeing none. Approval of minutes for the December 5th special meeting and minute summary of December 12th closed session and December 12th special meeting and December 13th work session.
Move.
Moved by Demers.
Second.
Second by Grasso. Any discussion or questions? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Demers?
Yes.
Better?
Yes.
Pakshavinsky?
Yes.
Buckaloo?
Yes.
Tweeten?
Yes.
Olsted?
Yes.
Grasso?
Yes.
Motion carried. Scheduled bid lettings, none. Scheduled public hearings, none. Consent agenda. Items under consent agenda will be adopted with one motion. However, council members may request individual items to be pulled from the consent agenda for discussion and action if they choose. Would any council members like to have an item pulled at this time?
Move 5 to 7.
No one wants anything moved first? Okay.
Second.
And Mr. Tweeden moves 5 through 7. And Mr.
Second.
Demers, second.
Oh, go ahead.
Mr. Demers seconds that motion. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Demers?
Yes.
Better?
Yes.
Pakshavinsky?
Yes.
Buckaloo?
Yes.
Tweeten?
Yes.
Olsted?
Yes.
Grasso?
Yes.
Motion carried. Acknowledge receipt of reports of officers, boards, and commissions. Regular minutes of Planning Commission for November 10th, 2016. Regular minutes of the Water and Light and Power and Building Commission for November 17th, 2016. Communication is none. Old business, there's none. New business, number 10, consider adopting resolution number 16-12-128, approving an outdoor rink sewage rate policy.
I'll move.
Moved by Grass,
Second.
second by Buckaloo. Any discussion? Mr. Murphy.
I just wanted to make a note that on the resolution, item number 4, in the resolve portions, item number 4, it says sprinkle rate. That actually should read rink rate. That is a typo, so we will make that correction.
Correction has already been made.
It has. Okay.
Is there any discussion? Mr. Demers.
Thank you, Mr. President. This question is for Mr. Murphy. So can you describe to me how this is going to happen? Am I correct that this is basically just the inverse of the sprinkle rate?
That's correct.
So if someone is using the sprinkle rate, which uses the winter months to calculate the summer months rate, and then they use the rink rate, which uses the summer months to calculate the winter months, what months are we going to use to calculate?
That's a good question. I did give this to the water and light employees that calculate the bills and asked for their input on this. They stated that they would be able to have enough months based on a winter usage for when the rink rate would be, or when the rinks would be being flooded. They would be able to know that. Same thing in inverse with the summer months. They said that they would be able to have at least a couple months in the spring and in the fall where they'd be able to take an average. I did get, which is why I brought that to them, because I figured they're the ones who are going to be implementing it. They're going to be the ones fielding the calls, and I wanted to have their input on it. So they felt that this would be enough for them to give them an accurate estimate of what those rates should be, or what those numbers would be.
Okay, I guess I'm going to voice some, I've already voiced my concern. I do agree with the idea of giving people a sewer rate break for putting a rink in, but I think this is, there's a problem with calculation. Like I said in the work session, this is basically voodoo economics. And it really doesn't need to be as simple. It can be a quick volume calculation based length and width and a certain depth, and that's the amount of gallons that you remove from their sewer. So I will vote no, because I think it's bad policy in search with, even though it's a good cause.
So let me clarify that, Mr. Demers. You're asking us to go out there and measure their rink, the depth of the rink, and the width of the rink, and the length of the rink? Is that what you're asking?
When they come, they're part of this policy requires them to notify us.
I just want to clarify.
Yeah, they would self-report. Is it 100 by 30 by, do you have some 2x4s up? So it's a pretty quick calculation.
I'm in disagreement with him. Bad policy on having a skating rink in the backyard or for the neighborhood, and we're seeing them go up in neighborhoods now, and one person might do the flooding of it, but yet there's probably 30 kids out there skating. Anything we can do to encourage kids to get out and skate, and to, instead of doing things that could be harmful or in the public or would not anything to do for them and they get in trouble. So the better rate we can give these people, I'd be one who would give it for nothing, but if you go at the sprinkling rates, I think that's fair enough. We're not losing money, and we're getting kids out and having activities.
Anybody else have any questions or comments? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Demers?
No.
Vetter?
Yes.
Pakshavinsky?
Yes.
Buckaloo?
Yes.
Tweeten?
Yes.
Olsted?
Yes.
Grassel?
Yes.
Motion carried. Number 11, consider adopting resolution number 16-12-125, approving the 2016 tax levy collectible in 2017.
Move.
Moved by Tweeden, second by Buckaloo. Any discussion? Mr. Demers.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move we table this till after we discuss the budget.
We have a motion to table it till after the budget.
Need a second? Second.
By Mr. Vetter.
Couldn't we discuss the budget while this motion is being considered before we vote on it instead of tabling it? It's kind of a semantics.
Good question to ask. Can we do that? I do not know.
You mean just take it out of order?
Yes.
Sure.
There we have a first and a second, though, so.
Yeah.
So we have a motion from Mr. Demers and a second by Mr. Vetter to table it to after the numbers 12 item.
I guess I'll take back my motion if you want to discuss item 12 before 11, if that's...
Mr. Tweeden and
Mr.
Mr.
Chair.
Buckaloo withdraw their motions.
Yes.
Tweeden?
Yes.
Okay. So we'll move down to number 12. Consider adopting resolution number 16-12-126, approving the 2017 budget and to authorize specific financial related activities.
Move.
Moved by Grassel.
Second.
Second by Tweeden. Mr. Demers.
Oh, I didn't ask you. Sure, I'll go.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. President. Could I get a rundown from the library director what the ramifications on the library would be if we do not approve the library, the recommended library staff position?
Right. As I had talked about last week, if this position is not approved, the way the library is staffed right now would have to change, which would then require changing of our hours. We have 9 part-time people who are not educated in the library profession. And so what they're able to do is answer simple questions at the front desk, but they aren't able to help us do the programming that is required by a library. And if all we're asking is that we check books in and out, that's all that will happen. If we are going to do the programming that we have been doing, trying to improve the literacy of the children in our community, keeping information available to everybody, be it physical or electronic, we need to have professional staff to do that and to supervise our part-time people. The part-time people turn over a lot. The full-time people would not. So the plan as of right now, which has been discussed with the library board, is that we would close 2 mornings a week, at least 1 evening, if not 2, and 1 weekend day. And that way,
A full day in the week end?
a full day on a weekend, yep. So we'd be only open 1 day.
How would those times correspond to use by the public, I guess?
We have done an hour-by-hour study of people in and out of the door and an hour-by-hour study of circulation, which also includes what happens online as a separate number. And we've put those together to find out when the most used times were at the library. So that's what we based which hours we would close.
Which weekend day would you propose?
That one's a tricky one. There are more people that go in and out of the library on Sunday, but there are more materials taken out on Saturday. And the reason there are more people typically on a Sunday is because there are more activities scheduled in the meeting rooms. The meeting rooms right now, if it's used outside of our regular hours, we charge a fee to open the door, to close the door. It's just a $15 fee. But as I had mentioned before, too, our rent was raised this past year, and we've actually taken in more revenue because of that, because they use those rooms a lot. So if we close on a Sunday, there will be a lot of activities that will have to find another place, or approved by myself or the board, we would have to have them pay extra to have us come in and open the door. But then we're heating the building on a day we're closed, which makes no sense.
If we move forward with adding a position, is there, in either year 0 or in the out years, is there the potential for eliminating some of the part-time?
As of right now, we would be eliminating 30 to 50 hours of part-time people, or hours, to compensate for putting in a full-time person. And I say 30 to 50 because it does depend upon what this person's experience is. So we have people right now, as far as our part-time staff goes, the one who works the least amount of hours only works 6 hours a week. And that's to help us with those weekend hours because they're tricky. And the most is 24 hours a week. So I have part-time staff that all work different hours to try to mesh together the quilt work of a schedule that I have.
And then the current proposed budget reflects the 30-hour reduction or 50?
It reflects 40 hours.
Okay. That's all I have right now. Thank you.
Mr. Vetter.
Thank you. I'm having a hard time understanding if we don't increase your full-time equivalents, if we keep the full-time equivalents as they were in 2016, why do we have to adjust our hours then? You've got the same FTEs that you had in 2016. You should be able to operate the library with the same number of hours and days that you did in 2016.
If we do exactly the same thing that we've done in the past. As the mayor has said, things have to change. We have a lot of things going on in the library or that the community has asked for, and there isn't another source for some of these things, and so we feel it's our job to be able to provide some of that. We can choose not to do that, and then our residents have the option of either paying for some services or going across the river looking for it, and then they would have to pay for it also. And that can be anything from, of course, renting our rooms, which includes the tech support that they get, all of our equipment and all of the support to use the equipment. We are putting together tutoring, which is for all students within East Grand Forks. Right now, they have to pay to have tutoring done, and so we would get volunteers, but we need supervision of volunteers. We can't just expect them to run that program. We are working on pop-up libraries within the city for places where people can't get out to us, which includes Edgewood Vista, which is very close, Good Sam's, the Food Shelf, where people get to where there's families that have not tried to use a public library yet, trying to get them in. The library offers free services. It's true, we're not a revenue maker, but we are what makes this community complete. We offer those services that help make our residents better citizens.
I'm going on record that I agree that we need a library. If we increase the FTEs, it's not a one-time thing like a capital purchase. This is an ongoing expense year after year after year. I think we can't be everything to everyone. We need to pick and choose which services we want to provide. And I'm of the belief that we just need to decrease our services and to make the budget. If the library FTEs are in there, I'm not going to vote for this budget. If the increase in the franchise fee is in there, I'm not going to vote for this budget. If we don't increase the FTEs on the library, and we've taken out the Valley Golf stipend that was in there, I think we can do away with the franchise fee increase then and keep our budget lower.
If I might add, I gave that same proposal to the library board and said, we either, we've talked about adding this person, we can do that and improve our services, continue to do an exceptional job, or we have to cut back services. And we talked about how we would do that, and the board was not in favor of that in any way. So we've had the discussion, so I understand where you're coming from.
Library board doesn't answer to the citizens on their budgets when everyone calls and tells me that our budgets are going too high, our water bill's too high. So I've got to do what I can do to keep those things low.
And the board is approached by residents also.
Mr. Bucklew.
Thank you, Mr. President. So if I understand it, Charlotte, with the support of the library board, which is a governing people that you answer to, they support hiring the full-time person and reducing the part-time staff. So you're going to do that no matter what action we take, because you feel it's the best service you can offer for the citizens of both communities, right?
I can't hire a full-time person unless I get your support.
Well, that's not the way I understand. I mean, you said that with the blessing of your board, they feel that the right decision is to hire a full-time person.
Right.
Okay, so if you don't have the budget to do that, do you intend to go ahead and hire the full-time person but reduce the hours? I guess is where my question's going.
No, I cannot hire a full-time person unless the council approves a full-time position.
Okay. So what's the cut in the hours? Where was that coming from?
If we don't hire the full-time person, if that's not
approved. Yeah, if you don't hire the full-time person, then you're going to have to cut the hours anyway?
We will be cutting the hours because the part-time staff cannot be stretched that far.
Okay.
Right now, I have 3 full-time people. Myself as one of those 3, and we cover extra hours. I work more than the 40. I have to rearrange the other 2 so they only work 40 hours to make sure that there's somebody who can supervise. That's going to wear us out really fast.
Well, in light of the fact that your governing body, who's there on the ground, monitoring with you the activities in the library, and they feel that it's important. The fact that we've got Grand Forks on the other side trying to consider what its library options, I think that cutting back the service for the library at this time would be not a good business decision. You do have to, if you're going to give a service, do it well or don't do it at all, and that's basically the analogy that you're going with, is we either have to cut back our hours so we can do it well, or we have to figure out how to do it well with another person. So with that said, I think that at this time I would support adding the full-time person for the benefit of having a good library that services both communities. And perhaps there's something that, in time, Grand Forks will want to participate with the East Grand Forks Library to provide some services as well. Whether that is somehow you can work that out and they can provide a person to do it, or I'll leave it to you and your governing board, but I would support the effort.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Tweeden.
President, I'd like to make a comment. I am a member of the board, have had the privilege of being on this board for many years, and I fully support what Charlotte's telling us people. We have a number of educators. We have people representing 3 large educational groups, tech school. We have people from the public school system and Sacred Heart. That changes from time to time. But what we're talking about is the future of the East Grand Forks, the future of its children. If you want to have smart children, you have a quality library, and you offer many services. Now, Mike Pokorinsky and I go into the library quite often, and I think he confirmed what I'm saying. The thing is that the library services are much more extensive than they used to be. And I walked in there today to give a publication to her, a good publication, gifted it to her. And I noticed a very diversified group. And one of the things I noticed just observing by their dress and so forth, at various age groups, they're on computers. But there are people scattered all the way through the entire building. And for the benefit of this particular group and the people of East Grand Forks, we've been, the last 30 days or so, we've been going through the entire library from a mechanical standpoint to make sure that we're not losing heat and make sure that everything is in operation. Everybody on that library board knows how to count. We know numbers, we talk numbers, and frankly, I think it would be a tragedy if we reduce the level of services. And if you want to get very well satisfied and see something that's really nice, go into the library after school is closed when you see a mother and a nice little girl about 6, 7 years old carrying a big stack of books. That tells you something, and I've seen that many times. And Mike, maybe you'd like to make some comments.
Thank you, Mr. Tweeten. I also served on the library board for a period of time, and the director and her board have done their homework on this, and I support their recommendation for the budget. And if we're going to reduce services in the community, community makes its priorities and makes them public in the decisions that we make, and I certainly don't support reducing the services of the library. I think we have other priorities where if we're going to reduce some services, we could take a look at that, but I support the library board's position.
Mr. President, I'd like to make one more comment. I wasn't on the library board when the sites was selected. Mike was very active at that time. I think he was on the board, but he raised a lot of money for the library, helped on gifts and so forth. But the one thing, the people that made that selection at that time made a wonderful selection on location. And there's an old saying in the business world, most important thing in the business world is location, location, location. Some other communities, one of them is across the river or suburb, they're having that problem. So we're blessed as to what happened in 2000, Mike, for people like yourself.
Mr. Grassel.
So if this is pulled from the budget, so you're going to be closed 2 mornings. What programming goes on there in the mornings?
Right now we have 2 story times and a baby bounce as far as regular library in-house programs go. On the mornings when we don't have those activities is when we go out to do other things. We do have regular meetings that meet there. There's a Tuesday morning book club that meets. And so other morning activities that are connected to us but not necessarily directed by us.
So you're doing, okay. So you're doing early literacy with children.
Yep.
And you're doing late literacy with adults.
Yes.
So to me, that makes total sense, and I'm definitely in favor of that position.
There's stuff.
Well, when it comes to the library, I don't think ours is running any, or I mean, ours is run probably better than any library around. She does an extremely good job with it. But the council is having a decision they have to make, and it's going to be something that's going to come up all the time. Each department is going to want to keep the services they are providing, and the money is getting to be an awful lot when you hire a new person, all the benefits and everything. So you have a decision here that you really have to make, budget-wise and service-wise. Do you want to reduce the budget from what you got right now? Do you want to keep providing the great service that we have right now? And that's a decision the council is going to face in all the departments in the future. So, good luck.
Thank you, Mayor. You know, looking at it and hearing and listening to the comments, what I'd like to do is, I know we do have some board members here, and I'd like to know if they'd like to say any words, if they'd like to come up at all and explain. It's my understanding that you guys taken time over the last year or so and gone through this and had a process that you guys looked at, and I know that you guys are heavily involved in it and going through it and making sure that the library is run very well, working with Charlotte, and that she does a great job. And I would like to have you as the board members explain what you guys have gone through and to get to this point.
Well, we've looked at a couple of things, and the part-time issue has been one of the bigger things that we've looked at, in the fact that getting coverage of hours is extremely hard. And when you have a full-time licensed personnel, you're going to have a different type of responsibility than you would with just a part-time person who, I mean, you could come in and be a part-time person, but what do you know, other than you could check out a book.
I probably would be very well there now.
So I think the key thing that is commendable as Charlotte has gone through this is that she's looking at people who are knowledgeable, who are going to benefit her staff as well as the community in what they're offering to the community and to our library. And I agree with Mayor Staus. We have a wonderful library, and we're adding things that are good for me as a senior citizen. They're adding things that are wonderful for children. I mean, there's just so many dimensions that have to be looked at, and again, I think it's commendable to be looking at another licensed personnel, media personnel, to add to this.
Thank you.
Well, I would, first of all, I would second what Sharon has just said, as well as what Charlotte has earlier said. And I think, you know, the library is really being asked to do more and more and more. Just as, for instance, all of the non-traditional people that are coming into our community and the usage that they are, the amount of library services they are requesting. I think proctoring, we're doing more and more of that type of thing and being requested. So there are many new services, I think, that are being added continually. And I just really can't see us going backwards, which I think is what would happen if we choose not to. And I think the thing that also, keep in mind, if we hire a full-time librarian, we are also at the same time not going to need as many of the part-time people. So there's a little balancing act as well there. So I am wholeheartedly, and we have studied this extensively in the last 2 or 3 months, and a lot of information has been provided for us, and I wholeheartedly am in favor of a full-time position.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. I know that you guys, as a board and as a library, do have a lot of people that do come over from the other side of the river, provide service to them. And our location is very prime. Because of that, it's easy to access, and it does have a lot of visitation from this city and also from the city of Grand Forks. And I think that to keep the library strong, and I like to use the word a great asset to the community, I think that it's, I'm in favor of moving forth, and I think that Charlotte's doing a great job, and I think the board is doing a great job making sure that this library is moves forward and keeps up to what is needed, and I appreciate it. Okay. Anybody else have any comments at this time?
Merry Christmas.
See none, roll call please on, I guess nothing else wants to be brought up. We're at a motion of the budget as it sits, as is approved. Motion. Roll call please.
Demers,
Yes.
Vetter,
No.
Pakshavinsky,
Yes.
Buckaloo,
Yes.
Tweeten,
Yes.
Olsted,
Yes.
Grassel.
Yes.
Motion carried. Go back to number 11. Consider adopting resolution number 16-12-125, approving the 2016 tax levy collectible in 2017.
Moved.
Moved by Buckaloo.
Second.
Second by Tweeten. Any discussion? See none, roll call please.
Demers,
Yes.
Vetter,
Yes.
Pakshavinsky,
Yes.
Buckaloo,
Yes.
Tweeten,
Yes.
Olsted,
Yes.
Grassel.
Yes.
Motion carried. Claims 13, consider adopting resolution number 16-12-127, authorizing the city of East Grand Forks to approve the purchase from Harbor Hank, bid reference and check number 25582, for a total of $212.07. Whereas Councilmember Buckaloo is personally interested financially in the contract.
Move.
By Demers, second by, who is that? Tweeten? Any discussion? Mr. Demers.
Just that it'd be nice that we can move the meetings along about that much quicker in about a month.
Roll call, please.
Demers,
Yes.
Vetter,
Yes.
Pakshavinsky,
Yes.
Buckaloo,
Abstain.
Tweeten,
Yes.
Olsted,
Yes.
Grassel.
Yes.
Motion carried. 14, consider authorizing the city administrator clerk treasurer to issue payment of recommended bills and payroll. Moved by Grassel.
Second.
Second by Vetter. Any discussion or questions? You made that? I missed it. Buckaloo. Sorry.
It's already out the door.
Roll call, please.
Demers,
Yes.
Vetter,
Yes.
Pakshavinsky,
Yes.
Buckaloo,
Yes.
Tweeten,
Yes.
Olsted,
Yes.
Grassel.
Yes.
Motion is carried. Mayor Stiles.
I just want to thank all the council members for working with you. We may not have always agreed, but we're, I think, all working in the best interests of the city. And I look forward to watching you on TV. And that's all I have to say.
Mr. Vetter.
I'd just like to thank the mayor and Mr. Buckaloo for their service on the council and the city of East Grand Forks. Appreciated their efforts. Thank you.
Pakshavinsky.
I, too, would congratulate and thank Mr. Buckaloo for his years of service, and congratulate the mayor on his dedication and years of service to the community. I think it's a record that'll never be surpassed as far as years of service sitting in that chair. And we've had our differences, but never questioned your love for the city and care for what we do is best for the city. So, and I have heard from a constituent while I've been sitting up here that they are watching us on TV, and to comment to Corey, I don't know if he's here, that the sound quality and the picture are excellent. So, thank you.
Mr. Buckaloo.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank all the council members for, the cooperation and the effort that has been put in over the last 10 years. And it's just issues like this, the last one about the budget. It's always going to be a tough one. There's always going to be priorities that we have to come together on, and I hope that at the end of the day, everybody's still friends over the process, and move forward. And if the decision doesn't work out, don't be afraid to make another decision sometime later to correct or to try a different path. But I do have a much higher appreciation for what goes on behind the scenes the work that the staff does to prepare the budget process. I mean, that in itself is enormous. And all the crew that we have out there, whether it be rescue, whether it be streets, whether it be the library, and Megan at the administrative level, the things they do to keep us informed and keep things moving along. And for that, it's been a pleasure for the last 10 years. Thank you so much.
Mr. Tweeden.
I'd like to thank Lynn and Craig for their service. They've been excellent servants of the city of East Grand Forks. I'd also like to thank all of the people who are very closely involved in the city, the administrative employees and the department heads. We've got many wonderful commissions and boards of dedicated people. One of the things that happens in government is that when people work together, more happens. And it especially happens when people are enthusiastic and optimistic. We've created that type of atmosphere, and you can see it all around the city. We have a city that has maintained high quality services, and hopefully we can continue to perform like that. But the challenges are great, and as Mr. Buckaloo has said, sometimes it's very difficult to make these decisions, especially when they include raising taxes. One of the things that has happened, I can make a dissertation with anybody that wants to talk about it. There are a lot of conditions that we've had to deal with the past few years that were not of our making. But we took what we had and we're going forward with optimism. And I'm very confident that we're going to have one of the best building years we've ever had. And I think that we've got a lot of good indicators what's happening. Our school districts are increasing in enrollment, and to me that's a verification that we have a quality city. Let's keep working together. Let's not make personalities where we disagree like some communities do. When we do that, we're going to continue to have one of the sparkling gems of this state in the northwestern corner of it. You know, when you start thinking about Minnesota, except for Moorhead, who else is growing like we are? There isn't anybody. We're going to be much bigger, much better. By the way, folks, on the 24th at about midnight, that fellow with the white beard, he likes hot chocolate and chocolate chip cookies. Be sure you put them where you can find them.
Thank you, Mr. President. I guess I'd like to continue the sentiments that we've been hearing so far. Mr. Buckaloo, as a partner, council member, as a past president, you've been a great steadying force, a rational arguer, someone that always has a great even keel. You've been someone that I've come to depend on for advice as a sounding board, and I appreciate that. I thank you for that, and I wish you the best of luck and much happiness going forward. Mayor Staus, we have clashed in the past, but I'm going to quote or paraphrase the mayor-elect when he was leaving office the last time, is that someone had made the comment about this not being personal, and his response was something that stuck with me, is that this is deeply personal, and I think it needs to be deeply personal, and your actions and your commitment to the city have been deeply personal, and And I thank you for that, because we need that. We need to fight. We need to, we can be gentlemen and gentlewomen doing this, but we need to have that type of disagreement in order to go forward. So, like I said, I appreciate it, and thank you for having the city be better when you left it than when you came into it. And I think we all will rise to meet that challenge that you extended, that we leave it better than we found it. So thank you. Not to leave on just a high note, I think it goes without saying that we as a city should feel a bit let down this year by the extreme failure of our state government in both the executive and legislative branches. It's more than disheartening to see the failure based almost entirely on personal electioneering, not even politics. Politics is good. Politics is debate. Politics is about, distributing resources. It's not going to be nice. It's not going to be pretty. But when everything's done for electioneering and for gamesmanship for the campaign, it puts everybody in the city and at the state in a bad spot. So we should demand more from our legislators, from our governor, going forward. They let this city down a lot, and we need to continually let them know that. And not to rain on the parade, but that it's something that's very frustrating, and every person in the city should feel very frustrated. Thank you.
Mr. Grassel.
I too would like to thank Mr. Bucklew for your tutelage the last 4 years and your guidance. I'd like to thank Mr. Mayor Staus for his resiliency. When people said no, you came back and tried to find a different way of getting him to say yes, and you never stopped. And that's an attribute to what this city looks like today, and for what you did. And I agree with what everybody else said. Sometimes we agree to disagree. I will, as a Grassel would have to do, I will plant one flower for you every year, Mayor. Just one flower for you every year. All right.
I don't know how to go after that.
Tulip.
Yeah. Everybody's said some nice words and appreciations. Mr. Bucklew has been a great sounding board, as Mr. Demers said. We have talked, and he has given guidance to me, and we've had some good discussions, and I appreciate that, and I thank him for that. He will be missed, but I know that he's going to enjoy his time with his family, his grandkids, and hopefully he can practice on his golf some more now. So, Mayor Staus, I appreciate the years that you've gone and spent for the city, and the time you've taken out of your personal life and to help out the city that you live in to make it a better city, and to make sure that it's done to that it benefits the citizens here in East Grand Forks. I think everybody will remember what you've done. I think, as somebody alluded to, I think it was Mr. Paczynski, that I don't think anybody surpassed the time that you spent in your lifetime sitting in that chair and also on the council as a council member. I do appreciate it, and I thank you, sir. Mr. Murphy, do you have anything?
I think pretty much all of it's been said, but I just will say that I have, in my career, I've worked with quite a number of councils and mayors, and I just want to say that I have thoroughly enjoyed working with both of you, and I have a tremendous amount of respect for both of you. I wish you luck.
I'd like to add one more thing here that I forgot here, is we heard this kid talking about put some chocolate out on a 24th, hot chocolate or milk or something. That's the key to success of living a long time. Henry tomorrow will be 93 years old. Just want you people to know.
Mr. Gulstead.
I guess I'm just going to echo the sentiments. I want to thank Lynn and Craig for your years of service and just extend my best wishes for anything that you guys do in the future. And I just want to thank you, and Merry Christmas to everybody.
Steve, do you have anything?
Again, like Mr. Galt said, I'll echo a big thank you to everything that you guys have done. I know Mr. Beaupre wishes he could be here tonight to thank you guys. So again, on behalf of all the staff from WSN that have worked with you guys in the past, thanks again, and good luck.
Any departments have anything they'd like to say?
I have one item. Unfortunately, I was trying to be quick when I did the agenda, and I forgot when I sent out the agenda to you gentlemen, I did not include the resolution for bonds. And I'm surprised Carla hasn't said it yet. When I prepared the agenda motions, I used the original agenda, not the amended agenda. So I do have, before we can close the meeting, I do have one more item for you gentlemen to act on. And I know Mr. Olsted does not have it. I did send you out the information. Consider adopting Resolution 1612-129, passing a resolution providing for the issuance and sale of general obligation improvement bonds, Series 2017A, and the proposed aggregate principal amount of $2,520,000. This would be to cover street improvements for 2016, street improvement projects for 2017, and also this paving and sidewalk that was put in the Riverview 10th edition.
We have that resolution in front of us. Is there a motion?
Move.
Mr. Bucklew.
Second.
Second by Mr. Demers. Any discussion or questions? Mr. Pachivinsky.
Can we do this without suspending?
Yeah.
It is actually on the amended agenda.
Okay.
It was sent out on Monday, and it's on the agendas in the back. I sent it to you guys, I just didn't send you the amended stuff.
Okay,
So,
thank you.
yep.
Mr. Demers, you have something, sir?
Just a question for Carla, just nodded. Do we have to be rated for this? Will we go through a rating process?
Correct. David and I will be talking with Moody's with Springstead on January 6th. They have a list of questions they'll go through and ask us about the city, about growth, about financial stability and such. It's the same process that we did in 2015.
Okay. A suggestion would be that Mr. Murphy put out a good thing or sound fiscal advice or whatever for a city, and one of the items in that was asking your rating agency to do a little bit more of an elaborate study into your finances or whatever, and usually they do that at the same cost of doing it. I guess we can go forward, but I would just want to make sure that we included that into our proposal.
Yeah, they do a pretty comprehensive report. In fact, I'll give you what we got last year. Review. I'll send it to everybody so they can look at it. And I would assume we'll get the same. If there's more than we want in that, would you please let us know?
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Demers?
Yes.
Vetter?
Yes.
Pachivinsky?
Yes.
Buckaloo?
Yes.
Tweeten?
Yes.
Olsted?
Yes.
Grassel?
Yes.
Motion's carried. Anything from the department heads at all? Sorry. Okay, seeing none, entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Moved by Buckaloo.
Second.
Second by Demers. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Meeting adjourned.